The Real Story with Jeanne Ives continues on AM 560. The Answer.
Okay, welcome back to The Real Story. On the phone with me is Jim Carafano, national security expert for Heritage Foundation. And we've been talking a lot about, senior military, and you had just left off with saying that, that you don't feel that they are as patriotic as we've had in the past. They're maybe not looking out the best for our national interest. But I'll tell you who is really not looking out for our national interest, and certainly not Illinois taxpayers. And that is Governor Pritzker. He just penned a deal last week to give the Chi-Coms, a Chinese Communist Party-backed company called Gotion, $536 million of Illinois tax subsidies. That's a lot of money. In fact, it's probably, and I'm trying to still find out all the details compared to other credits that we've gotten. I believe it is the largest deal to a business in the state's history by many multiples. And, this communist-backed Chinese company is all about battery manufacturing, which they corner the market on right now. And here's what just came out right after that deal. Right after that deal, September 13th, this comes out from the Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party. It's from Congressman Gallagher's committee to the Honorable Janet Yellen. The first line, we write to you today to urge you to take immediate action to prevent CCP-backed companies from leveraging U.S. tax dollars to expand their operations in the United States. Jim, aren't we right to be concerned about this?
Yeah, and let me give you a couple of reasons. And the first one deals with people say, hey, look, I just want a job. They're going to bring jobs to my state. That makes me happy. I bet you that doesn't happen. First of all, you have to realize that the entire electrical vehicle industry is not being created out of demand. It's being created out of a government fiat. The government is trying to create an industry that is likely not supportable. At some point, this is all going to implode. And instead of people getting jobs, people are going to lose jobs. Those jobs will vanish, and the $500 million that you spent, that's not going to come back in revenue to the country. So you're going to lose money out of this. So because the industry itself is unsustainable, the Chinese economy is in the state of mass throes. There's every likelihood that a lot of these Chinese investments are going to tube as well. So you're going to give the Chinese $500 million. They may never build that plant. So the economics of this are a disaster. I mean, people complain about building stadiums and never getting your money back. This is going to be worse. It is not going to bring jobs to your community, I guarantee you. The Chinese have a thing called civil-military fusion. In the mind of the Chinese Communist Party, every institution in China works for the Chinese Communist Party. So it doesn't even matter if it's a state-owned enterprise or a private enterprise. The Chinese are going to control and manipulate that. And once the Chinese are in your community and in your state legislature and in your governor's office, they're going to start forcing you and forcing stuff to do stuff that's good for China, and a lot of it probably won't go good for the United States. If there was ever a time when this is a risky proposition that is not going to pay off for the people, this is absolutely the day.
The House Energy and Commerce Committee Chair, Kathy McMorris Rogers, she testified before the House Rules Committee on this. They actually had this vote on whether or not you can continue to have a gas vehicle. And all but 8 Democrats voted against continuing to let you have a gas vehicle, including every single Illinois Democrat in Congress. They voted against this. They don't think you should have a gas vehicle in the future. Okay, but in her comments on this, she said China controls some 76% of global battery cell production capacity for electric vehicles, around 75% of all lithium-ion batteries, and the majority of processing and refining capacity for over half the world's lithium, cobalt, and graphite. They're basically trying to corner the market. They already have the market cornered. Now they want to take out all American competition, and Pritzker is going to let them do that.
The other dirty little secret is let's say they did get in Illinois, and they stood up this factory. They're not here to make jobs for Americans. They're here to kill American jobs. And they've done this over and over again in other industries. They'll come in, they may say, and let's just pretend that they actually factory. Then what they're going to do is they're going to shut that stuff down, because in the end, they want everybody to buy stuff from China. They're already doing in other places, in other sectors. So in other words, they take over your industry and they go, oh, great, the Chinese are here to invest. Then they kill it. And then they say, oh, well, now because you can't have gas-powered vehicles anymore, and you have to have electrical vehicles, you're just going to have to buy them from China. That's the way this works.
Yeah, so I know that part of the reason that they're doing this is the Inflation Reduction Act actually had some caveats saying that essentially by 2029, you have to have 100% of the inputs to electrical vehicles be sourced in the United States. So they're basically playing the long game here, knowing that they already have a market on the best technology for this. They're coming in. The only reason they're even coming in here is because of that requirement, because they want to push everybody out of business before that. They're always going to be the low-cost leader. They don't care about making a profit because they got slave labor on the back end to do their job. And, you know, the Daily Caller wrote about this extensively with the Michigan plant that's going on. And their headline is just alarming. You know, Michigan battery plant employs 923 CCP members. So you can expect that some of the best technology that comes out of this, it's not going to be shared with the United States. They're more than likely going to have their own people come right into Illinois, right into that Manteno plant. And it's going to be CCP members. And it could be spies, too.
Yes, well, okay, fine, you can use Chinese stuff now, but in 10 years it has to be all American. Once the Chinese get in there and they invest and they start buying that'll go away.
Okay, you're right. You're right.
And then they'll just shut the American production down, and there's no choice. I mean, this is suicide. And even if you thought that this was going to work, you're never going to make your money back. Nobody's going to profit by this. Nobody's going to get a career or a job out of it. You have to trust me. And you literally are giving the Chinese Communist Party, which has a goal literally of running the planet and sees as is the number one obstacle in its path is American power and influence. China's strategy is to diminish and marginalize and overrun America. And you're letting them under the wire, and you're literally helping them do that. You know, we wrote a groundbreaking report on this at Heritage last year. It's called Winning the New Cold War. And it says, look, and we brought all the world's experts together. We did a really cold assessment. And we said, if you just listen to what the Chinese say they're going to do and look at what they're trying to do, they are trying to dominate the world, and they're going to dominate the world by destroying America. And that's their plan. And you using American dollars to fund it is probably not the smartest thing. This is like inviting Hannibal Lecter over for dinner and then asking him, what's for dinner?
Well, you know, and I hate to tell you, I mean, that's why I say that this is nearly traitorous for them to do it. We are funding our enemies. By the way, you know, it's American capital, and I've been listening to a lot to the Coalition for a Prosperous America. They've done a lot of research on this as well. I mean, literally, our capital markets have helped fund the buildup of the military, the Chinese military. And I'm sorry, but, you know, I'm really not interested in having that happen when my kids are out there defending the nation.
Yeah, and, you know, and people say, look, I don't want to spend more on the military. I don't want to have an aggressive foreign policy. Well, you know what? If you don't want your enemies to come and get you, the number one thing you can do is stop giving them your money.
I agree. Okay, we're going to have to leave it right there. Jim Carafano, what a pleasure to speak with you. I really enjoyed this conversation and love your insight. Thank you for all that you do to raise awareness about what's going on in the world.
Well, like I said, it's such a great honor. What you do is so important, and what you do for people is so great. I'm just a super, super admirer of you and your show. Keep it up.
Thank you. And we'll be back.